Every time you turn on the news, there's another sighting of a UFO. No matter where you're going, it seems like people are taking pictures, video. Doesn't matter, they're seeing UFOs everywhere. And if my last video on the firmament, comets, and the moon is correct, how could there be UFOs? And what are we really seeing? And if they're not coming from a galaxy far, far away, where are they coming from? Who's making them? Who are the people? And is this possibly ancient technology that we forgot about? So before we get into what are UFOs and aliens, let's get into some lost technology, some stuff that actually we've had here on the Earth before that might actually help us to understand where we are today. And I ran across this one video from Flat Earth Britain, Martin Lickey. He goes into looking at old films and old technology to try to piece together our past and our future.
This was found. Now I go through Pathé newsreels all the time. I do get copyrighted for them, though, so I'll speed it up, or I'll just scroll through it better. So what this video is, guys, from Pathé newsreels, is world's first mobile phone, 1922. Hold that thought. And I've shown evidence of this sort of technology years before this, and I am proposing that it's no problem for them to have this 100 years prior, because nothing new under the sun. But check this out. So, two ladies come down a beautiful mud-flooded avenue, okay, and they got their mobile phone, but it's run flat. So what do you do in your reality when you want to charge up your phone? You plug it into your wall, or your mains, or you plug it into your computer, yes? Ladies, show the people how you charge your phone in 1922. What? You connect it to a bollard? The same bollard with these serrated tops, but the lug is on there now? And that gives you a charge. It's active. Are all bollards active? Check this out, guys. Bingo. They're live, alright, or they were then. So she's got a charge. Now she can get a signal. Wireless signal. Now she's got a battery charged. Ka-ching. And she needs a signal, so she uses her umbrella as some sort of dish or antenna to get her signal. And now she gets through to the wirelessly to the operator. Operator service, which number you calling? And to give you a bit of music. Yeah.
Bet you didn't know that they had cell phones in 1922. And like he was saying, they probably had it much earlier, probably 100 years, maybe even more. So look at this, 1922 high-resolution photo. I remember seeing something like this about 10 years ago. Actually, I think it was almost identical, maybe a little different material, wasn't made as well. I couldn't find a date on this photo, but by looking at the cars, I would say early to mid-50s. 1956, can you see the picture on there? And look at the size of it. It's a handheld Skype telephone, kind of like our iPhones of today. But this isn't the only one. There's many. This one I couldn't find a date for either, but I would imagine it's around that 1955. But this closed circuit TV was 1965. I know they like to tell us that it's just technology that didn't catch on, But if you've seen all of the pictures that I actually saw of this, I'm only putting in a few here. There is many. This was technology that was widespread and was common. Electric scooters, 1916. Actually, I found them all the way back to 1900. These were creative people. Look at that. Nobody just had to go walking with their kids. 1910 scooter. I guess I should have had this one first, but I wanted to surprise you. Were those issued by the post office, or did they have to pay for them themselves? But wow, that would have been a cool way to get around. And it looked like a lot of people, probably most people, got around at that time from 1900 or earlier to who knows when, like 1930, everybody was scooting around. I know you guys all heard about electric cars and how they just were not popular and everybody wanted to go to gas guzzlers. But look at all of the different manufacturers of these electric cars and all of the different, like again, I'm telling you, I'm using a very small portion of pictures that I actually have of electric cars and different manufacturers. They were very common. What year was it that Henry Ford came up with his gas guzzler? I mean, Model T, supposed to be the first. Here's what Wikipedia says about the first gas guzzler. Henry Ford introduces the Model T Ford automobile in October 1908, the world's first mass-produced car. In producing an automobile for the middle class instead of just for the wealthy, Henry Ford helped change America's society forever. I'll tell you what I think Henry Ford did. He took away our electric cars, which were clean, safe, and affordable for the average person. The cost to maintain them probably was next to nothing, since there was technology all over the place that they could charge for free, like the cell phone. I had to throw this in for technologies that we have lost, because there's so many pictures of robots in the past, and a lot in the ancient books as well, drawings of them. And I want to ask you, could it possibly be a robot that we're looking at here? What do you think? I mean, the movies usually tell us what the truth is. Star Wars. I have to add this clip from John Levi, and this is just a small portion from his really good video on fountains. Link will be in the description.
Sunset, and I think about fire and water fountains. All these water fountains found all throughout our realm. The most beautiful water fountains, predating power, not predating electricity, but the general distribution of it, and yet the importance of these fountains. Were they just for beauty, such poverty in times of past, and yet people had enough resources and desire to build some of the most glorious fountains, things that we don't replicate today. And were they just fountains? Were they just ornamental? We barely understanding anything, let alone how all this architecture and arts and understanding of the past came to be. And especially until recently, having very little knowledge of water and the uses and benefits and potential. Now we come to understand how energy and intentions and frequency can affect water, and especially ourselves being mostly water, and also the ability to restructure water, this being a fairly new concept to me, having recently drank restructured water and having felt very good for 2 days. And this water was charged with an electrical energy, restructuring it and creating much more use to myself and my being as compared to the damaging effects that water would typically have coming out of the tap after it's been abused and so-called purified and ultimately adulterated. And could these fountains, with their glorious antiquitech on top, have been doing just this, restructuring the water, creating healing fountains in all the town squares, all throughout our realm again. No shortage of fountains, often surrounding beautiful monuments, and the fountains themselves being monuments, and naturally pumping water in general, healing or not healing, and the ability to pump water, very advanced in these early time periods. Very questionable as to whether it would really be possible in very early time periods to be plumbing water in mass volumes into town squares. We're told people still used outhouses and threw their waste out of windows in buckets, and yet coexisting with these works of wonder. And coming full circle on this fiery day, in which I can't even see the mountains. Usually we'd see them. I think as a great precaution around a home, one would want a sprinkler system as some sort of defense mechanism against fire. Perhaps if fire comes sweeping through a city, or in my case, sweeping through the high desert, you fire up your exterior sprinkler system, watering your house down as if it was just raining, and protecting against fire. And could these fountains have served the same purpose? Could this be the reason why much of this architecture remains in such reset situations? Or if we believe the narrative, such situations where a cow might knock over a candle and burn down a whole city, one could fire up this fountain to full capacity, creating an umbrella of water, protecting the surrounding buildings for as far as you could project and procure water pressure. Where I grew up in Arizona, not too far away, we had the world's, or maybe the second or third world's largest fountain. At the time, a small community called Fountain Hills, and I believe it shot up for hundreds of feet. But this same fountain could be adjusted, turned on and off at will. And let's have a look at some.
The myriads of fountains are advanced technology that we lost. These people were not throwing their waste out the windows. They were using their indoor plumbing. So much of our technology has been lost to us, especially when you think about the elements of water and how important it is to the human being. All of these technologies that I'm showing you were widespread and in common use. Okay, so now we've looked at technologies that we've lost, or that we had a civilization that was flourishing with advanced technology. We're looking at right now the Tesla car that's in space. Did that really happen? Are we seeing what we think we're seeing, or is this CGI? If we truly have a dome over us and the world is flat, then what we're looking right here is CGI. So if you think this is all hogwash and we really do have a car in space and we are rotating around the sun, going how many miles it is throughout the universe at this rapid speed, please check out my playlist. I have a number of videos there on did we go to the moon and flat Earth. But let's look at some technology that we did have and have lost. Flying vehicles. There were plenty of them. Everybody's heard about the Hindenburg or the Zeppelin. You know, we all think it was just something that happened a couple of times. They only made a few of these and they were very dangerous and they blew up. A lot of people died. And we went to a more safer alternative. But if you look back in history at all these pictures, you will see that they actually were quite common, just like the scooters and the phones and the fountains and the cars. And the evidence is all the charging stations, like the lighthouses, the Eiffel Tower, New York State Building, Toronto Tower, Calgary Tower. So it does look like Lighthouse's main purpose were docking station. And think about how many of them litter the world. That shows that this was a common form of transportation. And I might add, a safe form of transportation, because obviously it went on for centuries for the amount of buildings to charge them. Until, of course, they decided to get rid of it all and change our whole technology into a gas-based combustible engine. And there is plenty of evidence to show that they used air balloons on a mass scale in the First and Second World War. The proof is our technology was highly advanced in the past and it was taken away from us. But the controllers of the system never stopped using the technology and never stopped advancing it. As we know, the Germans were working on UFO technology and time travel and many other bizarre things that we think would be science fiction today because we've been so limited in our knowledge as what we actually have, what our abilities are as human beings, and what we've lost in the past. So as you start to see the UFOs in the sky and on the news talking about invasion from another galaxy coming far, far away to either help us be our saviors or to destroy us, we know it doesn't come from outside of us because the Bible says that God put a firmament over our plane. So do our governments have this technology? I would say yes. They've had it all along and they're using it against us. You might ask, who are the controllers that possess this technology and have taken it away from us and are using it against us? The Bible speaks about the fallen angels and their hybrid offspring, the Nephilim, the giants. John 8:43 and 44 tells us what Jesus thinks about these people. Why do you not understand what I am saying? It is because you are unable to accept my message. You belong to your father, the devil. You want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and refused to uphold the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language because he is a liar and the father of lies. So if by any chance a UFO lands in your backyard, they're not there to save you or protect you. They are the sons and the seed of the fallen angels. They are the vipers. They are the destroyers. There is only one Savior for mankind. And if you haven't put your faith in Jesus Christ yet, the time is running out. Live in love and light.